All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking real music in real time for a few real people out there, just like you and just like me. All right, so I am going to use this in this video. This is Molly Hatchet. Battleground is the name. This came out about 3 years ago, and it's kind of holy crap Batman. Yeah, I mean, the quality of this recording, the way this is put together, the artwork, which is really phenomenal, courtesy of, I believe, like Steam Hammer is the record label. Just really well done. These guys, I think, sell a lot of albums over in Europe. And for some reason, some mysterious reason, Molly Hatchet is a big deal over in Europe. And I have a theory. I think American audiences have been probably a little bit indifferent to a band like this. Now, I heard over on Patreon that you like Molly Hatchet? And I'm like, yeah. That's kind of a bridge too far for me. You've got some really interesting tastes there, Dave. I'm like, thanks. But I mean, a lot of these songs are just very familiar to me growing up listening to FM radio in the 70s and into the early 80s. And let's be honest, a band like this, which was kind of nameless and faceless, especially if you lived up north, I would say, which I did during my formative musical years, you didn't know who any of these guys were. You didn't know who Danny Joe Brown was until he left or did a solo album. But he was the original lead singer in the group. And right now, there are zero original members in this group. They have a singer by the name of Jimmy Elkins, who is really good. I mean, he sounds a lot like Danny Joe Brown. The original lineup was started by guitarist David Lubeck. It could be Hubeck. Either the H is silent or the L is silent. I'm going to say the H is silent, and it's Dave Lubeck, but somebody will correct me if I'm wrong. They always do. By 1976, the band had been officially reformed with a lineup of Lubeck, Steve Holland, Dwayne Rowland on guitars, and Danny Joe Brown on vocals, along with Banner Thomas on bass, and Bruce Crump on drums. Gotta love that name, Bruce Crump on drums, playing for Molly Hatchet. He was also, I guess, in the band Steelheart for a little while, which is kind of crazy to think about. Today's lineup includes keyboardist John Galvin, who joined in 1984, Bobby Ingram, lead guitar since 1987. I believe he probably owns the trademark to the group, Bobby Ingram. I don't know for sure. Drummer Sean Beamer since 2001, bassist Tim Lindsay since 2004, and again, like I said, vocalist Jimmy Elkins since 2019. So this band literally has zero original members, zero. There's not one member that was there at the beginning briefly, who left and came back and so forth. They have zero original members. Again, the oldest dating back to 1984. And the band at that time was still a little bit on FM radio, starting to fade. You know, the 80s were kind of a tough decade for bands like Molly Hatchet because, you know, their sound had to be updated. And there were a couple of instances where they succeeded. There's a tune by them called Satisfied Man, which I think is a spectacular win for merging a little bit of tech with that Southern rock sound. And just a cool band. Now, I know, again, it's an acquired taste. My point is that there's still a market for this music. These guys go on tour and they sell a bunch of tickets. Now, you could have a Molly Hatchet tribute band, right? Is it a strong enough band to have a tribute? Maybe, maybe not. Seeing the original band would be a really great thing, but they're not here. So again, these are good replacement players. Again, much like what happened with the Little River Band, but maybe even more so with Molly Hatchet, is that people really didn't know who was in that band. And so they're like, okay, it's a great Southern rock band. This guy sounds like the singer. This album is produced really, really well. And if you weren't a fan and you listened to this first, I think you might become a fan. It's really interesting. And if you're going to keep the legacy alive, you should put out some quality stuff. A lot of these bands who don't have that original framework tend to put out rehashed versions of songs, and they kind of suck most of the time. I mean, do they sound like the song? Yeah, a little bit, but they lack that warmth. They lack that meticulous production value. This thing for a live record, this, and you'll say a live album too on top of it. I don't want to hear a live album. No, this is really top quality. And yeah, there might be some overdubs on this, but who cares? I mean, really well done. I think the point of my video here is that there are instances, almost dropped the CD, there are instances when 0 original members is okay. And this is one of those instances. There's nobody really complaining all that much about Molly Hatchet not having the original guys when most of those guys died. That's the problem. I'm pretty sure everybody died, and maybe the people that are still around, if there are any originals out there, those people might be just too old to do this, or just, you know, aren't up to the task. Maybe they're in poor health. I don't know. But much like Lynyrd Skynyrd, they lost all of these people and they continued. Notice people aren't really complaining all that much about Lynyrd Skynyrd having like 1 original member, right? Because I think that's what they're down to. And I think that 1 original member, I think that's the keyboard player, he's off and on. He's not always in the group. And like Mick Jones and Foreigner, it's that 1 member. And I don't know, people. I mean, there's a part of me that is kind of happy that this is still going on. I've never seen Molly Hatchet. I would do it. You know, you bring your wife and you just kind of have a good time and enjoy some great music. Enjoy, you know, bring the spouse, I should say, because if you're a woman watching this. And anyway, bring your spouse. I don't want to get into trouble with some of the weird stuff going on in the world today, but check out Molly Hatchet, Battleground. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's a band with 0 original members, and they sound really, really good. And they're keeping this music alive, and who knows, maybe they'll record some new material. The band has recorded lots of material since their heyday that was completely ignored. And it's kind of sad because the music industry obviously went in a different direction. I mean, Molly Hatchet had troubles during the 80s, and then things just got worse for them in the 90s, and pretty much everybody for that matter. So there's my video on the topic, 0 original members and still going strong. One more time so you can see this up close. This is Battleground from Molly Hatchet. Worth the purchase. If you like Southern rock and great production value and live music that is up-tempo and even a little bit progressive at times. Yeah, Molly Hatchet, a little bit. I mean, they're not cookie cutter, that's for sure. And if you like a lot of guitars and guitar solos, yeah, check out some Molly Hatchet. All right, people, I'm done. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you soon.